The judge in Blake Lively's case just slapped down their psychopathic request.
Is this truly a win for Justin and a loss for Blake?
Absolutely a win for Justin, and you're absolutely right, Andy, in your interpretation of the document. What they said is basically, they told you to go, you have to go meet and confer, and to even come up with more narrow requests.
A hush fell over the packed courthouse lobby the moment Blake Lively stepped through the doors, trailed by a team of high-powered attorneys. Reporters craned their necks, anticipating the kind of poise she usually displayed on red carpets. Yet this time, the aura around her felt different, tense, almost brittle. Whispers had been circulating for weeks about her brewing legal battle against director-actor Justin Baldoni, but few expected it to escalate so dramatically. Rumors of hidden agendas, alleged harassment, and a supposed smear campaign had already set the internet ablaze, but none of it could match the reality unfolding inside the courtroom. Lively's camp demanded access to Baldoni's calls, texts, confidential memos, and even location data spanning 2 years. Critics wondered whether she was fishing for critical evidence or simply attempting to bury him under invasive scrutiny. In an industry where privacy is guarded like treasure, her approach seemed unusually forceful. Before the hearing began, observers quietly asked themselves, was this about justice or a quest to uncover secrets no one was meant to see? When the proceedings kicked off, Justin Baldoni listened calmly as Lively's attorneys laid out a laundry list of subpoenas that astonished even seasoned lawyers. He maintained a careful expression, neither indignant nor cowed, as each demand was read. Lively's original claim revolved around the idea that Baldoni had orchestrated a malicious campaign to undermine her career. But what stunned everyone was how far her legal team wanted to reach. They sought medical records and personal diaries, location pings that would map Baldoni's every move, and digital footprints stretching far beyond the alleged incidents. Legal analysts covering the case on social media were quick to note the breadth of these requests, speculating that such a deep dive might signal desperation. Some wondered if Lively was aiming to corner Baldoni into a settlement by threatening to reveal information with no genuine link to her initial complaints. Others questioned if she truly had strong evidence behind her claims, or if she hoped something incriminating might emerge from a massive data trawl. From his elevated seat, Judge Louis Lyman wasted no time cutting to the heart of the matter. He methodically reviewed each subpoena, more than once lifting an eyebrow at their startling scope. Court transcripts later showed him calling these legal maneuvers astonishingly broad and lacking a specific justification tied to Lively's complaint. Observers in the gallery exchanged surprised glances. It's not often that a judge speaks so bluntly, but Judge Lyman was unimpressed by star power or Hollywood fanfare. In his view, Lively's request veered too close to an all-access pass into Baldoni's personal affairs. After a short but pointed deliberation, he ruled that much of Lively's discovery demand was off-limits. Instead, he would allow access only to a narrower window of data corresponding to the timeline of the alleged wrongdoing. The reaction from Lively's legal team was immediate and visible. One attorney pressed his lips into a tight line. Another shook her head in evident frustration. Lively herself appeared at a loss for words, leaning toward her attorneys as though she couldn't believe what she was hearing. The actress who once projected effortless grace now looked thoroughly alarmed by a judge determined to draw strict boundaries. Reporters waiting outside had a field day when word leaked of Lively's response in court. Various headlines described her as on edge or caught off guard, with some even claiming she displayed flashes of anger when the judge denied her sweeping requests. Within hours, hashtags popped up on Twitter, casting Lively as either a cunning figure demanding unlimited access to someone else's life, or a misunderstood celebrity cornered by a legal system that didn't grasp her plight. The truth likely lay somewhere in between, but the public reveled in the melodrama. Memes quickly followed, mocking her efforts to sift through every aspect of Baldoni's existence. A narrative took root that Lively was determined to find any tidbit, no matter how personal, that she could twist into ammunition. Her fans insisted she was justifiably fighting for accountability, while skeptics perceived a strategy geared toward intimidation. In a single day, Lively's long-standing image of composure morphed into something more complicated and potentially more threatening. Then came the leaked audio. Suddenly, the case was no longer about who demanded what in a courtroom, but about a clandestine recording that painted an unflattering portrait of Hollywood power plays. Posted anonymously on a gossip website, the audio allegedly featured well-known industry executives openly discussing methods to sideline Baldoni's future projects. In hushed yet unmistakable tones, they referenced both Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds as having nudged them to deal with Baldoni. Listeners were left with the impression that Lively and Reynolds had leveraged their influence to isolate him professionally. The fallout was immediate. Social media exploded with debates on whether the clip was authentic, yet certain listeners claimed to recognize the executives' voices. Baldoni's supporters seized upon it as proof he was the real target of malicious behavior, not Lively. Suddenly, the person who claimed to be a victim of smear tactics was implicated in back-channel talks that might be far more damaging than anything she ever accused Baldoni of doing. Throughout these revelations, Ryan Reynolds remained conspicuously silent. Fans initially took his hush as a sign of unity with Lively, a devoted husband choosing not to add to the public spectacle. Yet it grew more peculiar with each passing day, especially considering Reynolds' trademark wit and active social media presence. In the past, he would have diffused uncomfortable topics with lighthearted quips, but that strategy was nowhere to be found. Instead, he offered only carefully curated updates about upcoming projects, steering clear of the scandal completely. Some speculated that he might be distancing himself to safeguard his brand, one built on likability and comedic charm. Others believed he was quietly working behind the scenes, ensuring any potential revelations about his role in sidelining Baldoni wouldn't blow back on him. The rumor mill even suggested tension in the couple's marriage, as Reynolds reportedly disliked being cast in a negative light. At that point, no one could confirm which narrative was true, only that his sudden reticence was fueling suspicions. Events took another dramatic turn when it surfaced that Lively had contracted a crisis management guru reputed to have connections with top intelligence circles. This individual specialized in shaping public opinion in heated controversies, often by controlling information leaks, planting counter-narratives, and driving the media away from unwanted angles. The revelation sparked a storm of online chatter, essentially accusing Lively of harnessing clandestine tactics to hide truths she didn't want exposed. Critics were quick to point out the contradiction. Lively had portrayed herself as a victim of Baldoni's alleged underhanded PR warfare, yet here she was, using an ex-intelligence pro to spin the story in her favor. Some defended her, arguing that high-profile celebrities facing relentless media attacks need the strongest crisis teams available. Others weren't so forgiving, calling the move proof that she was more adept at controlling narratives than the public realized. Whichever angle one took, this new hire amplified the sense that Lively was prepared to do whatever it took, ethical or not, to maintain the upper hand. Amid the growing furor, Judge Lyman made a bold decision that many in Hollywood found jarring. He announced plans to allow partial live audio transmission for the next critical hearing. Typically, major celebrities rely on strict court orders to safeguard private details, but Lyman had little patience for secrecy. His goal was to ensure fairness, shedding light on a dispute that had grown increasingly murky with leaked tapes and rumor-fueled headlines. When the news broke, Lively's legal team appeared visibly dismayed. It meant no more discreetly shaping how the media recounted courtroom events. The public would hear arguments in real time and draw their own conclusions. If Lively's claims held water, a live feed could underscore her credibility. If they didn't, it would be nearly impossible to mask inconsistencies. Baldoni's camp, on the other hand, welcomed the transparency. According to sources close to him, he believed the factual record would vindicate him and cast doubt on Lively's more explosive accusations. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown, complete with a global audience listening in. In the lead-up to the live broadcast, both sides ramped up preparations. Rumors surfaced that Baldoni's team had lined up multiple witnesses prepared to share unsettling accounts of Lively's on-set behavior. Some witnesses whispered that she regularly weaponized her star status, exerting influence over lower-tier production staff. Lively's camp countered, insinuating that Baldoni had a pattern of dismissing legitimate concerns from co-workers and that more revealing text messages might be unveiled. Industry insiders watched in apprehension. The mere suggestion that two A-list figures, one famously adored for her down-to-earth persona, the other celebrated for his uplifting social projects, could be locked in such a venomous feud rattled many. Producers and executives wondered whether their own communications might face scrutiny if the court case expanded, especially given the blacklisting allegations swirling around the leaked audio. A sense of collective anxiety took hold, as though the entire Hollywood ecosystem might be forced to reconsider the ethical lines it tiptoed around every day. Ultimately, the controversy hinges on whether Blake Lively truly sought justice or something else entirely. If she pushed for impossibly broad subpoenas and enlisted an ex-intelligence PR specialist merely to unearth private details about Justin Baldoni, the case speaks volumes about how power can be wielded and abused in Hollywood. The leaked audio and Judge Lyman's firm stance against star-centric favoritism have already shifted public perception, casting doubt on Lively's initial image as a victim in need of protection. Meanwhile, Baldoni stands at a crossroads. If he unveils persuasive proof of manipulation, he might turn the entire scandal into a cautionary tale about the perils of crossing the wrong people in Tinseltown. Yet, if his evidence falls short, his claims of being blacklisted or framed could evaporate under closer scrutiny, leaving him with a tarnished reputation and little recourse. For Ryan Reynolds, the stakes are equally high. Any hint that he conspired to undermine another entertainer might scorch the wholesome brand he's cultivated through comedic roles and philanthropic work. Fans who once idolized the Lively Reynolds marriage as a perfect Hollywood union now question whether these two powerhouses have been orchestrating backstage deals that straddle the boundary between cunning and unethical. The next court hearing, promised to include direct audio coverage, could lay bare a flurry of accusations, defenses, and counterattacks, transforming this legal drama into a public spectacle. Industry watchers suggest the fallout could reshape how celebrities handle behind-the-scenes squabbles and push the legal system to clamp down on overreaching discovery requests. In an arena built on perfectly polished images, the possibility that Blake Lively, once praised for her relatable personality, might be adept at ruthless legal maneuvering has left even her supporters uneasy. Whether she emerges victorious or faces a reckoning for any underhanded schemes, one truth remains impossible to ignore. Hollywood star status offers no guaranteed immunity when the curtains are pulled back. Leaked recordings, defiant judges, and the unstoppable momentum of public curiosity have already stripped away much of the glamour, revealing an undercurrent of ambition, fear, and betrayal. With more evidence possibly lurking in emails, text threads, or private testimonies, the final outcome could rewrite the reputations of everyone involved. After all, once a scandal crosses the threshold into live court audio, the usual methods of spin and secrecy become far less effective. Whatever the next revelation, viewers worldwide are primed to witness every gut-churning detail. And in a city that thrives on illusions, that level of exposure may be the hardest blow of all.